Coordinating importance. Why do we need confidence? To boldly and determinedly conquer our place under the sun, of course. Pendulums have imposed the belief that nothing comes freely. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If you want to achieve something, you have to fight for it, insist, demand, outstrip your rivals, and elbow your way forward. But in order to act boldly and viciously, you have to have confidence. The path of battle, struggle, and rivalry is not the only option. You can reject the pendulum's game and calmly claim what is rightfully yours by simply finding the will to have without pressure or conflict. Freedom of choice threatens pendulums because if people stopped creating and overcoming unnecessary obstacles, pendulums would lose their power. While it's hard to imagine a world without pendulums, their false stereotypes are not immutable laws. With awareness and intention, you can step outside their game, take what is yours, and eliminate the need for confidence or struggle. Confidence has only one origin: importance. Confidence represents the same potential as insecurity. It is just the opposite polarity of the same quality, and both polarities are rooted in dependency on external factors and circumstances. The following metaphor describes the nature of this dependency. The pendulum leads a person along a path like a puppet on a string. The person does not believe that they can choose their own path or even walk independently. If the strings are kept even, the person walks with confidence, like a child holding onto its mother's hand. But as soon as the strings relax and give some slack or start to jerk, the person feels insecure and tries to tighten the strings. It is not that the pendulum is holding on to the person tightly, it is that the person will not let go of the strings of importance. They are afraid to let go because they're under the power of dependency, which creates the illusion of support and confidence. In the end, the child will let go of the mother's hand and walk on his own, and the mother will encourage the child to do so. The pendulums, on the other hand, will try to convince the person that they will not be able to choose their own path by themselves or walk without the support of the strings. If the person were to shake off the delusion and let go of the strings of importance, they would find that they were able to walk freely wherever they wished and simply choose their goal without having to fight for it. When a person attains true freedom, they no longer need the illusion of confidence for support. Instead, they only need coordination to stay balanced. While they may feel accustomed to the false stability of clinging to pendulums and the strings of importance, this dependency constantly disrupts balance, leaving them vulnerable. By letting go of these strings and avoiding the creation of importance or excess potential, they can naturally maintain their equilibrium and move forward through life with ease. Confidence as a support would no longer be necessary because where there's no importance, there's nothing to guard or conquer. There's nothing to fear or be anxious about. As long as I do not attribute excess meaning to anything, the layer of my world will not be distorted by excess potentials. Instead, I abandon the struggle and go with the flow. I am empty, and so there is nothing that can be hooked into, although this does not mean that I'm hanging or suspended in a vacuum. Finally, if I want it, the freedom of choice is mine. There's no need to struggle anymore. I just calmly walk my path and take what is mine. Unlike shaky confidence, this is a new state of conscious, composed coordination. Inner peace comes from letting go of inner importance and the need to prove anything. When you see yourself as important, you feel compelled to prove it, creating excess potential. Balance forces then work to challenge and dismantle this inflated sense of self-worth, often putting your confidence to the test. Feelings of inferiority push people to constantly fight for validation. Instead of struggling to prove your worth, simply accept it as a given truth. The moment you stop trying to prove your value, you naturally embody it. Peace follows when you no longer feel the need to justify yourself to others or yourself. A feeling of insecurity is the same as low self-esteem, so how can you improve your self-esteem? You probably think that we are now going to try and make you believe that you're much better than you give yourself credit for. This is what many psychologists would do without a second thought. It is true that the opinion others have of us is directly proportional to our own opinion of ourselves, as long as it doesn't border on arrogance. The moment you acknowledge your true value, free of any self-deception, others will agree with you. The only problem is that it's not that easy to convince yourself of your own true worth. Go ahead and try it. If you suffer from low self-esteem, you will not succeed in persuading yourself of the opposite. However much you try and convince yourself of your own true worth, you'll never quite be able to believe that you are special. Thoughts will creep in along the lines of, so, where are they then? These special qualities of mine. I can see the shortcomings. They are obvious. Stop fighting for self-worth. Trying to convince yourself of your value either leads to overconfidence or deeper despair. Instead, let go of the struggle entirely. When you stop battling to prove your worth, people will naturally begin treating you with more respect. Their attitude will affirm your value without the need for effort or self-persuasion. This approach works because the fight for self-worth wastes energy, creates excess potential, and stirs up resistance from balanced forces, leading to unnecessary problems. You don't need to fix the situation, just step away from the struggle. This is the paradox. By abandoning the struggle for self-worth and stopping the need to convince yourself of value, others will begin to treat you with more respect, and you'll simply know your worth. This approach works because the fight for self-worth wastes energy, creates excess potential, and stirs up resistance from balanced forces, leading to unnecessary problems. You do not need to fix the situation, just step away from the struggle. This is the paradox. By abandoning the struggle for self-worth and stopping the need to convince yourself of value, others will begin to treat you with more respect, and you'll simply know your worth. Trying to deny or suppress feelings of guilt is as futile as trying to artificially boost your self-esteem. If you're prone to guilt, you won't be able to eliminate it through force. So, what should you do? The same approach applies as with self-esteem. Stop justifying yourself unnecessarily. Only explain your actions when it's absolutely essential. Remember, no one has the right to judge you as long as you haven't harmed anyone. Avoid taking blame publicly or justifying yourself to manipulators who thrive on guilt. Instead, quietly disengage from their game. Give them nothing. If your guilt complex is deep, it may help to temporarily set aside your conscience and stop inviting others to evaluate your worth. If your guilt complex is deep, it may help to temporarily set aside your conscience and stop inviting others to evaluate your worth. By adopting this approach, not through inner struggle, you'll find that guilt gradually fades away on its own. By letting go of the battle for self-worth and stopping the habit of justifying yourself, you eliminate much of your inner importance. Guilt and low self-esteem are the main sources of inner importance, and most other forms of excess potential stem from these. Once you release them, you'll no longer feel the need to protect yourself because there is nothing to defend. You won't feel the urge to attack others preemptively either. Remember the saying, do not frighten anyone and you'll have nothing to fear. When you reduce the importance of external factors, they lose their power over you. The two most oppressive types of outer importance are fear of the unknown and feeling overwhelmed by challenges. These lead to stress and panic. While insecure people struggle under the weight of their problems, strong personalities often tackle difficulties with excessive force, relying on overconfidence to push through. Both approaches create unnecessary tension and imbalance. Insecurity, like confidence, requires energy. In the case of insecurity, the energy mainly goes into panic and anxiety, and in the case of confidence, the energy goes into overcoming obstacles. These are fairly elaborate methods of interacting with the outside world. In reality, everything is much simpler than it seems. As soon as you consciously reduce outer importance and abandon fighting against the alt flow, the obstacles you perceive will be cleared from your path. Do you really think you would need confidence? No. All you need now is good coordination to move with the flow and consciously control not the script, but your importance levels. Energy that was previously channeled into maintaining all sorts of excess potential now goes on supporting the balance and just slightly helping the flow along with the ore of purified intention. Of course, you cannot ever totally stop attributing meaning to things in life however hard you might try, so do not fight to negate importance. Just release the grip and transform the energy of anxiety into the energy of action. Begin the process of doing, i.e., taking action in any way you can without insistence or pressure. The energy of excess potential will disperse through action, releasing the energy of intention, and with that, complex problems will be transformed into minor ones. As far as fear of the unknown is concerned, neither blind faith, nor autosuggestion, nor false confidence will help you deal with it effectively. You may remember that we advised not thinking about the means to achieving your goal. You will never force yourself to believe in the possibility of a distant goal and/or total 100% success, so abandon futile attempts to do so, as your faith will come to nothing and temporary bursts of confidence quickly fade. You do not need confidence or faith. You need coordination. Coordination means taking pleasure in thinking about the goal as if it had already been reached, letting go of the grip of control over the script and going with the alternative's flow, and helping it along with the oar of pure intention, i.e., action without importance. This is totally different to blind faith in success. Where there is faith, particularly blind faith, there's always room for doubt. It is the forced potential of importance that blinds. When you go with the flow in conscious awareness, everything falls into place without excessive effort. When you act with coordination, what once seemed uncertain or intimidating will naturally reveal itself. Doubts vanish when the mind is faced with actual results, turning fear into confidence in your abilities. The key is to reduce importance and release your grip on controlling the script. Remember, you define how challenging a situation feels, and when you let go, adjustments in the flow will work in your favor. Finally, absolute coordination is achieved as a result of harmony between the heart and mind. If your conscious desires are clear, but doubts or negative feelings linger in your subconscious, coordination remains out of reach. Harmony is achieved by listening to your heart and living true to your personal credo. This means accepting yourself fully, letting go of guilt, and acting in alignment with your inner truth. You don't need to create, change, or battle with your credo. It already exists within you, but it may be buried under layers of importance. Struggling to refine or perfect it only leads to inner conflict and self-doubt. The moment you release your inner and outer importance, your credo naturally emerges. With nothing to prove or protect, you simply live in alignment with your true self and claim what is yours without struggle. When you abandon the fight for self-worth and stop inviting others to judge you, you gain genuine confidence. Not the fragile confidence based on excess potential, but a steady, calm inner strength. This is the essence of coordination. True coordination comes from inner balance and self-sufficiency. It doesn't rely on external validation or proof. Think of characters in films whose quiet confidence is unshakable. This genuine confidence arises from unity between heart and mind, free from guilt, dependence, superiority, obligation, fear, or stress. When you maintain this inner harmony, you don't compare yourself to others or disrupt the balance within yourself or the world around you. Living in alignment with your values and in peace with yourself and the outside world creates true, lasting confidence, coordination. Any other form of confidence is temporary and artificial. Coordination frees you from pendulums, allowing you to move freely and claim your path. If you're stuck with tedious obligations, detach yourself mentally. Imagine that you're an actor in a movie and you're playing your part. Stay the course until the chapter ends and the right door will appear. Focus on visualizing your target slide without worrying about how it will happen. Trust that outer intention will guide you to the right opportunity.